Hi, everyone. Sorry I'm a few minutes late. It is my fault. It is not Chibu's fault. It is my fault. So I apologize. Thank you so much, Jira, and thank you so much, Warren. I appreciate you both. I'm sending love. So hi, everybody, and welcome to Millennial Splaining. Why don't you start out with a little bit of an introduction of who you are, about your where you're running, and why you wanted to do it.
Yes. Hey, everyone. My name is Chibu Asonye. I am a Green Party candidate for United States House of Representatives for Illinois District 13, Urbana-Champaign, Savoy, Decatur, Springfield, down to the Metro East St. Louis area. If you're in Illinois side, then I could be your congresswoman in the future in 2025, which is going to be awesome. I'm 27 and I identify as like a Zennial, so I have older siblings who are in their late 30s, and here I am, 27, seeing how the world feels like it feels like today has just been a really daunting day where it feels as though I'm watching my government continue to make these very incoherent steps and make these incoherent decisions, but they have some kind of weird thread of logic to it. And as a young person, I have a really big fear of war at the current moment, and we're kind of already in one. And I want to go to Congress because Congress says no to war. Congress says no to waste and spending, and Congress's job is to hold the government accountable. I live in a college town, and so either you have student loan debt or you have a child that has student loan debt, or you're thinking about how you're going to pay for college for your upcoming children. I seen that it's Congress's duty to pass student loan forgiveness and to clear out those federal student held loans. After the Supreme Court said it has to be Congress or it's nothing, I said, okay, I have to go to Congress. I have to make these moves. So that way there's someone in Congress who's not only just working class, but living paycheck to paycheck, but someone who actually is from our community and wants what we want, which is investment in our homes, investment in our communities, rather than sending bombs and war to other places. Bessie, you're muted. Oh no, Bess, I'm so sorry, you're muted. Yeah.
I was giving you like 15 compliments, and then I told you I was giving you 15 compliments, but I was still muted because I pressed the mute on my computer and not. Oh my God. This is bad. I've had a long day and I am so sorry. But what I was trying to tell you, can you hear me now? Are we good?
Yes.
Okay. What I was trying to tell you is that it's beautiful that you took your frustration and you wanted to do something with it. So many people would just say, well, all the government's messed up and it sucks that this is happening, but whatever, and then just shut it off. You know what I'm saying? And it's so important that we all don't do that right now. And we all have to make ourselves look, and we all have to make ourselves do something. And I think it's beautiful you're taking that energy. So to clarify though, going back for a second, you said you're a Zennial, okay? So does that mean you're an X-lennial? Like you're Gen X and a millennial? Or are you Gen Z and a millennial?
I'd say I'm a Gen Z and a millennial. I have
Okay,
so I'm
that's what I
27.
thought.
Yep. So I'm Gen Z and a millennial. Right at the
27.
tail
That would
end.
make right. So that would make more sense because I'm an idiot and I messed it up in the tweet and I wrote X, like X-lennial, and then I looked at it later and I'm like, wait a minute. I'm an idiot. I am so sorry. But I did fix it in the description. But yes, you are a Zennial, and you're absolutely right that I'm old because I'm a millennial. I'm like like an elder millennial because I am a Zennial, right? So like I'm an ex-lennial, right? And you're a wow, I just lost
Jumping each other
myself as a
here and
viewer.
there. No, that's the thing though. So my sibling, I'm the youngest of four.
Okay.
And so my eldest is 38 and I'm
Mm-hmm.
27. So there's a huge difference, but they
Yeah.
like helped raise me. I grew up with all of their pivotal moments. So 9/11, the housing bubble, Obama, like 2018, Katrina, all those things that were pivotal moments in their lives, the crashes that happened. And I was like, well, it's supposed to get fixed when I get to their age. And it's not.
Yeah.
It's not.
Well
And there's
done.
no, it's thank you. Yep. Thank you. Thank you all. Thank you all for putting us on this pathway. And I'm a Green Party because I need a party, a political party that runs candidates that is saying these two situations aren't helping us. Cool. How can we be different? So that's in Illinois, it's so frustrating because because like it takes so many signatures to get on the ballot as a third party, and so it's not just everyone in my community knows that the two parties that got us the situation that we're having right now is not going to fix it and it's not going to save us, and is if they ever bail out anybody, it's going to be their corporate donors and people who I don't know, and it will never benefit me. And I decided again, like, yes, I'm young. There are people older than me who have that energy still and that drive. And so I would rather channel my drive into something different, into a political party that is malleable and will materially benefit my community. Because that's the thing. I'm in Illinois. We're very big vote blue no matter who's actually. Yesterday I was at a petitioning, like I was at a local cafe petitioning and getting signatures, and a lovely, like an older guy sit down, and we were talking, like he's an older Black man, and we ended up talking about it, and he was just like, okay, so you understand, he like tried to lay out all the foundations as what's wrong with the country and how we got there, and how we both agree that the better half of the better evil is the Democratic Party. And I said, okay, so with that being said, why are you encouraging me to put my energy into a dying party? I'd rather continue to be optimistic somewhere else. And yeah, and I think that that's something that is needed in my community. We're so sick of feeling neglected, of voting and not having it be what was promised, but even more so, just being sick of it, just sick of everything. There are so many people that I talk to who either like haven't voted in several cycles, and they always feel bad about it, but they just can't take themselves to vote. And so here I am wanting to create policy that actually encourages people to like participate. And since we all know that nothing else is going to change the two parties, I'm like, here's the energy. Let me show you that I took what you all dealt with seriously, that your experiences I hold, and I'm reflecting upon the lessons that you all have shared my entire life. So now I can do something about it. Like, cool, let me try.
I love that. Do you know how validating that is? Like, I'm just gonna make that quote a little TikTok, and I'm gonna be like, "Hey, millennials, you will feel validated after this TikTok." I mean, literally, right? I mean, because that's the entire reason I made this podcast. And I had this podcast idea like 2016, maybe like even earlier in 2015, 2014. You know what I'm saying? So like I was like going through it, and I was starting to write stuff, and I never actually did it until later on. I think I started in 2020. I started this podcast, so it took me like forever to get my shit together. I had to, we don't even know my life story, but the point is that one of the reasons I started this, and it was called Dear Old People at the start. I called it Dear Old People, and then I realized as I aged, and still nobody was listening to me, that I should probably change it to not old people, but dear older than me people. because you do hear us. Like that's so validating, and it really it means a lot to hear you say that, because I really feel the most solidarity with your generation, with Gen Z. I feel like, we were both in the mill. I mean, you guys were young during 2008, but you still remember it, I think, right? Like you remember that it was a tough period and it just got worse and worse, and like people kept trying to say, oh, the economy's coming back, and it's like, no, it never was, yeah. And then, and then COVID, and it hit you guys so differently. Like you must have like been just coming out of, school or something at that point. How did COVID hit you?
Ooh, so I was in graduate school in Mississippi during the first like 2 years of COVID through the election of 2020. It was
That's
definitely
awesome.
daunting because I really, it was hard because like there's two things. So one, I'm this like more liberal progressive person. It felt like in Mississippi where everyone else around me is taking in Illinois are there's lockdowns happening. But then I don't want to be locked down. So I appreciated the fact that like I was able to, I mean, there wasn't like a lot of freedom, but I was able to like go more places, or I can at least try and do that dine out food and stuff like that. But I was in graduate school. And when I walked across that stage, I like I got home and I was like, I literally, I was fried. I was so fried. I was fried during school, during that summer to prepare, because I was a first year master's going to my second year. So I did my whole second master's year under COVID. Yeah, virtual classrooms. The libraries were closed. I think that's what
Did
got
you like
me.
actually learn anything?
I know that I had really fun discussions.
Cool.
Yeah. My teachers were amazing. My classes were great. But it wasn't just like trying to focus in, everything felt so sterile. It like even trying to go in person was off. And so
Wow.
most of us elected to just be online because it made like, at least you can, you can see people, you can eat snacks while and I ate food all the time. My classes were at night, and I'm like,
Mhm.
and there's so, like night classes talking about higher education law. Great class.
Oy. Did you say what you majored in? I'm sorry if I missed that.
I didn't. I majored in higher education and college student personnel from the University of
Okay.
Mississippi. Yeah.
Cool. Very cool. So how did that work out for you job wise?
Well, I actually do. I basically I learned like student affairs and how do you become an administrator at a university. And I absolutely loved it. I love it now. I do use it tangentially. Like I work in student affairs. I work in a college, and part of why I refused to take out, like, I was told when I was in undergrad to like not take out college loans once I got into college for graduate school, because there's
Okay.
someone somewhere who would be willing to pay for me to go to school. And I said, okay, right? There's
Yeah.
somebody. I also went to an ag
Yeah.
school, so but I went to the University of Mississippi because a lot of people in Illinois have family in Mississippi, which is very much true. Even myself is a daughter of Nigerian immigrant. And it was the COVID part was hard. It's a beautiful place, a good school, but I'm happy I went there because I had more misconceptions than I thought, and I realized that having like a neutral like a neutral idea may still not be particularly like positive,
Mm.
and it wasn't negative, but yeah, I was like the South. This like I'm literally the North, like going from Illinois, um, but I also it all going to school in Mississippi made it more visceral. how intentional, like, people in power keep people down. In Mississippi, so water, part of, I want to make sure I do full circle because I tend to ramble. But one, student loan forgiveness is in my platform, and seeing it in Illinois, seeing it in Mississippi, it benefits everybody. It's not just every single person across the spectrum will benefit from student loan forgiveness, period. And I knew that if I lived in Mississippi if I knew I lived in Mississippi for any amount of time, but I figured I could do it for 2 years, because you get perspective, and I wanted perspective. And I'd learned about civil rights. I had a huge passion, and I say this because I'm Nigerian. My parents are Nigerian American, I'm Nigerian American. My parents are Nigerian immigrants. And so I went to Mississippi to say, like, there's a huge legacy between Illinois, Chicago, Mississippi, at Ole Miss, because that's the school I went to. And like, so that was all on purpose. And I'm so happy I did it, because it is very true. Like, we're all working class, we're all middle class. Nothing that I have as Nigerian American is without like, if other Black women, if descendants of slaves didn't do things, I literally wouldn't be here. And I knew that because I loved Illinois, I wanted the full breadth of at least what I could learn and glean and gain that perspective of. So student loan forgiveness is pivotal. Clean water is also something that is very tangential between Jackson, Mississippi, and Illinois schools and stuff. I see that there's like a black screen of getting together, so I'm just going to keep talking because I am like that. And yeah, so being in Mississippi, it definitely made me realize that when people are in power, choose not to uplift minority voices and choose not to uplift truth and justice and peace. And I realized, definitely on purpose. So if you're an advocate for change, if you're an advocate for justice, if you're an advocate for no longer being mediocre, be whoever you can be whoever you want to be. Because there's always a reason why someone won't accept you. There's always a reason why they'll ask you to wait. There's always a reason. And it helps truly nobody at all. And so, since, I am currently right here, I'll tell you a little bit more about myself. My other my platforms are, yes, student loan forgiveness. I want to ensure that I want to ensure that everyone in Illinois has access to clean water. Right now, water debt is a problem in Illinois. Privatizing water is an issue that's coming up in Illinois. And I'm in a central, yes, perfect. I'm a central Illinois community. I'm in a farming community. I'm in a lower income community. And so like any rate of water increases, people feel it. I feel it. I feel the gas. 10 cents is definitely different across the board, but you feel it every day. And so I want to go to Congress because I see that this current Congress that we have right now, there is zero correlation between what the individuals and populists, what the people of the United States of America and taxpayers, what they say, what they want, what the polling say they want, and what Congress actually does. And if two parties have been doing this for years and no one's happy, and I'm seeing people who look like me be passed aside, be castigated and asked to like just take their turn, I'm not going to give that group my energy and my time and my money. I learned best, yes, like Bernie Sanders, and those 8 years that I watched, my people who are vote blue, no matter who, they said, Bernie isn't real. He's not serious. Oh, blase, blase, blase. And I was like, okay, fine. So I voted the way I voted. Next time around, I'm older. Hey, I like him. Yes, I will bring money to him. I mean, I don't have a lot of money, but I'm happy for it. Why are we why are we letting this go? Why aren't we accepting the left, the progressive, the younger people's ideals? We keep saying for them to wait, but when they actually stand up and say we have a candidate who's your age that we like, there's always a reason why they say no. I didn't want to have to deal with that. I value and appreciate the the struggles and the hard life that you all, that like my elder siblings, people who are truly just 35 and older at this point, like your lives have been awful. and and now I'm in a position where I can take the lessons that you all have learned and have shared and do something with it. Student loan forgiveness. I do want to go back from militarism. I particularly in my community, there's a general washing of, we pay a lot of taxes. Like we do. We pay a lot of taxes. Illinois has very high taxes. So we feel that Brett, as a working class people, as like middle class people. And so right now I say we don't have to technically raise taxes. We have money currently to pay for the things that we all want right now. We can just divert the money that that is spent on war and waste. So militarism, unaccountability, gifts to countries for reasons that we give. Like, there's no reason for us to be giving the military so much leeway, so much money, when there are schools in our communities that have students, that people have student lunch debt. Like, there are books that are old. There's they don't have a librarian anymore. I would rather pay taxes, because I've always paid taxes my whole life. I'd rather pay taxes and have that go to my municipalities, go to getting potholes, cleaned up. These are all the things that, like, I want to make a tangible difference. And so I want to, Bess, I'm glad to have you back. I want to give a shout out to the Illinois Democrats, because they love when I do this. Look, I will agree that the current things that have, like, the Democrats have been helpful. I'll let them have that. If that's what you all need to move on to another party, I will take your truth. Because like transit in Illinois, we have good public transit, but the roads, so a lot of our, so like the roads and the potholes. But what ended up happening a few years ago was, well, do you want to get a new like roof for a fire building that was collapsing? So we needed that kind of infrastructure. Or would you rather spend that money on the schools and getting schools like air conditioning for COVID stuff? And I asked myself a good question: why are those two like, why are they against each other? I'm pretty sure we have $10,000 for that roof. I'm pretty sure that a governmental grant can give us money for these HVAC systems for these schools. I am no longer interested in fighting for scraps. We need people in Congress from Illinois who feel the pressure in Illinois, who like want to see something different and are willing to do that in Congress, because DC is where a lot of our tangible frustrations lie, in Illinois. And so I want to say, like, for whatever all the good Democrats in Illinois can do, I hear your truth. At the same time, we all agree that the DNC in Washington, D.C. is a swamp that has to change. It has to change.
Well said. And well done. Well, I had my computer meltdown there for a second. So sorry about that. But I was listening on my phone while I was gone. So I hopefully caught most of it. And I think that it is, again, I just want to express like how, like you were talking about your sisters, and you were talking about how you really see like basic things that we grew up with, like libraries. Like, I'm actually one of the librarians you don't have, because I couldn't get a job as a librarian when they were cutting programs in 2012 and 2013. So, you know, I I love that you brought that up, and that you're seeing it's not, you know, like we're in we're in a decay, we're in a decline here. That, and it's not just, you know, like, you know, our government is intentionally keeping us down, is intentionally doing these terrible things. But it's also that we are so used to being comfortable, I think, in this country, at least the period between like the 70s to the 90s, right? And, you know, we got used to this sort of way of just trusting the government. Like, who trusts the government? Seriously. And like, you know, like, and trusting the media, and you know, being okay with being, you know, sort of commercialized too. And it's gotten to the point now where people are actually really hurting from all of these things. And like, it's the tools that were once there for you hippies to go and run around and do anti-Vietnam War protests, they're not there for us. Those libraries that you protested at are not there. Absolutely. So I'm so glad that you brought that up. Absolutely.
It's always the concept of being spoiled has come up a lot, which I don't get, because I'm like, but you also, so here's an example. I was talking, it was about student loan forgiveness, but so I was at a farmer's market, and I was talking to a progressive and she voted for green. I said, cool. This woman was a tenured faculty member at a local university. Okay. I'll say what, they're maybe 40, 52, maybe, because she was younger than my mom. And my mom's in her like 60s. And she had student loan debt. And she worked through school. And I was like, okay. So, but ultimately she agreed that that the student loan forgiveness had to happen because the way like we pay for school is ridiculous. And her catch up between me saying, yes, let's do it, and her saying, yeah, was, well, the interest rates are lower than what I had. So that's why you're kind of spoiled. I was like, I don't understand. Well, my interest rate was 18%. Okay. But yours is 2%. And I'm like, okay. But I'm paying $40,000 of 2%. And she's like, yeah. But it used to be 18%. And now it's 2%. So yes, you should, like, yes, the problem is real, and yes, it was us, but also you should be thankful. And I just I don't get that logic. That's the part I'm just like, if we're both right and my idea works, why are you upset that we're gonna try my idea? Like, I don't get it.
That doesn't make sense to me either. So wait, are you saying a millennial said that to you?
I would say she's like a baby boomer.
Okay, right. You were saying older than your mother. Yeah, and you know what's hilarious to me? You're absolutely right. Like you have to, like, to have that argument. That boomer had to go back and figure out what her interest rate was. Okay, like she remembers, and then she would have to have done the math on whatever, you know, the tuition was, right? And if you had done that math, you should know, doing that math on our version of what you went through, we're paying through the nose. We're paying literally houses worth more than you did.
And half of that's just on interest.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah.
Absolutely.
I'm like, just, it's something I've been reflecting on is I hear the sorrow, and I want to do something with it. But it feels like there's that, like, you know, like a generation above or two of like before us where they're still stuck. They're still like, it couldn't be that bad. You all are just so naive. I'm like, okay.
Not working hard enough. Oh my gosh, let me think of the things that I heard when I was young. I'm not working hard enough. I should get a third job. None of employers, right? Like, because I took care of my grandpa for a period of time. And I tried to get a job while I was taking care of him. And I literally had employers tell me, you should go home and take care of your grandpa. Like, we're not going to hire you. Go take care of your grandpa. Okay, great. So, I mean, that's also more of a caretaker issue too than just a millennial problem, because I know a lot of caretakers are treated like that, and it's not right. But again, like I don't know, I lost my train of thought there, but yeah, I had so many people tell me so many different reasons that I was failing at life. And I still do to this day. I mean, people who are older than me, even to the point where, like, I have an ex who I'm still friends with, and I think he's like maybe 47 maximum. He's not 50 yet. He's a little younger. He even thinks that I'm doing things wrong. And I'm like, where is the money coming from? How can I save money? How can I budget money that I don't get? Right? Where is it? Where is the money? And I'm like, I know you're doing better than me. You're a white man in a white man's job. He works for Bank of America. Oh my God.
Oh my gosh.
I'll talk about that later. But so no, seriously, it's like, it's insane to me. Like, because people need to emotionally justify to themselves, like, that America is still a country where you can make something of yourself, right? America is still a place where fairness means something, and that's only ever been true in times of prosperity, and only ever been true for certain people, not everybody, never the whole population. Why? Because you can't have a top without having a bottom on the pyramid. And how much bigger is the bottom of that fucking pyramid, right? That's literally physics. Okay. Literally geometry. It's some kind of math that I don't know.
See, this is why you're a librarian?
So that I can read and learn about math when I should be working. It's fine. I won't absorb it anyway. I've tried 4 years. I'm so bad at math. I'm the stereotype. It's cool.
No, it's fair. It's fair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love this conversation. This is such a great conversation. And you touched also too on the Green Party and how, I agree with you. It feels like, because I'm a new convert to the Greens. I don't know. You were newer too, I think, right? Or no?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, I really feel like there's a lot of us just coming in, like, sort of for this election this year, and we're really starting to rally together. And it's kind of awesome to see, because we're just so frustrated. Again, I mean, because there were first there was Bernie, right, to give us false hope. And then, there was the whole MPP, down the shitter thing. And then after that, we've just been like a cockeyed, fractured mess. So it's really nice to see that some of us are saying, fuck it, I'm still going to try to do something here. And, and we're partnering with people who've been doing this for a long time, and we're trying to get them to, update their shit for the internet, because that's literally the goals of, of what a lot of us are doing right now. And honestly, the support from older generations that I've seen towards that effort has been awesome. And I think that, that it's going to take a little bit for the Greens to sort of catch up in certain ways. But I think that we're headed in the right direction. And it's because of the young people that have entered and pushed for that to happen. And so I'm really proud of you. I'm proud of our friends for doing that. And, I'm happy to be part of the effort too, because I want to be able to have the torch passed to me. I've never had a torch passed to me, and I want one.
Hey.
Right?
Yes.
Pass me the microphone, pass me the torch. I literally had a conversation with someone. I won't get into who or what or why, but they were literally they were like, oh, I'll just like call a few people and send out a few tweets, and that'll be our launch. And I was like, what? Bro, literally, like, are you gonna fucking like Xerox some shit and then go like peg it on like the community board and like have those little pieces that you rip off with the phone number? Like that was his plan. And I'm just like, bro, no. And he wasn't even Green Party. I'm not even yelling at the Green Party for that. Because that was literally this man is literally worse than the Green Party because he was stuck in 1985, the year that I was born, in a cassette tape. Literally a Xerox zine in the high school bathroom. He is stuck living in that reality.
Right.
You know, but wow. But again, I'm not here to crap on any of the Greens because a lot of them have been so supportive and they have been really interested in updating as well and you know, hearing our ideas. And it's so nice to be in a group of people that actually want to hear your ideas, right? Like, you know,
that part.
Right? Like, when you're in a room full of Democrats who have been doing the same things for the same, you know, millions of years, the same way, they have the same people paid off for the last 20 years, you know, they're not worried about things. They're not going to have ideas and like shake things up or whatever, you know, like they're the least motivated to do that.
But they're just trying to pay their dues.
Yeah, the Greens are really motivated to try to do something this year. And it's beautiful. I'm seeing a lot of people come out for the effort in all ages. And it's really beautiful. I say join us. I say let's all create a green storm or like whatever the equivalent to a blue wave could have been. I don't know, like a green I'll have to think of that. I'm not a marketing person.
I'm feeling the green storm. I'm a superhero person. So like, yeah.
Okay. You could be like a green, that would be a cool Halloween costume, is like a green party storm.
I used to, when I had I got my hair done. Well, I got my hair done recently. And when I had gray hair, I told people it's because I wanted to be Storm for Halloween.
I love it.
I just challenge her every day.
I love it. I love that character and I love the X-Men.
She's she's a omega level mutant. Yeah, she's next level.
She's like, yeah, I mean, she's essentially like one of the like board of the founding fathers of all mutants, right? as a founder of that school, Xavier Mutant Kids or whatever the fuck it's called. I cannot remember names. You asked me to remember fantasy names and I really can't remember them, so but my girlfriend is more into the X-Men than I am. She grew up watching the X-Men cartoons and stuff, and I just watch the movies, but I love it. I really love it.
I'm more of a Marvel person. But I guess Marvel might be owning DC at this point.
Really?
They're gonna come together and have Marvel's owned by ABC and Disney, so
right.
Never mind.
Well, because that's the big like, that's the big rivalry, right, between Marvel and DC. Is like, I'm just echoing what other people have told me. To be real with you, I don't give a shit. I just like the stories.
Yeah, I was actually able to be hosted by the St. Louis Greens. Jill Stein and I went to. We're having a function, a community meeting. I was invited to talk. And that was where we met for the first time. And that was the same day that she got arrested.
Yes. Let's go into this story. I want detail by detail what happened. So you were hosting Jill at an event that was completely different, right? What was the event?
Yeah. So we were having a community event at the University Public Library. And so some of the there were a student panel, and the students who were there had kind of shared that there was an encampment that was happening at WashU, and that after that they were going to participate, they're going to go over there. We're like, cool. Now we have the event happens. It's a hit. Everything's great. One of the library clerks comes and is and like we're talking, and she was like, hey, like you all should come down to the encampment and like show your face and show that people are supporting us. Like you would support that. And we're like, yeah, but we don't want to just like go if we're not given permission. And so they happen to be one of the a potential liaison. And so they escorted us to go over there. And it was already a tense scene. So there, if you think of like a quad with the trees and the grass, but with like seating area, and then the buildings. So on one side there's like the street, and then the quad side, and there is a huge circle. There is a huge encampment, and their students are chanting, they're learning, they're teaching, they're holding the line. On the other side is like four different sets of police officers. So I saw two different like counties, and then the sheriff's office, as well as the Washington University police, or like security. And so first, so once we get there,
So
there's
do you think,
two, there's
and not to stop you, but so do you think that somebody had tipped off the police? There's a lot of different police departments to come out.
oh, they were called.
Yeah.
They were the all those police departments were called by the university, by WashU.
Mm,
Hmm.
gotcha.
And the key thing is the students had a demand. So the student organizers, student leaders had wanted the Washington University to divest from Boeing, which is which is Boeing, and then there's also a weapons contractor with those two. And so the university has direct ties, internships, funding, their foundations are directly going to those two places, and they have direct ties to like the war mission that's going on in Gaza, and the genocide's happening in Gaza. So there's a very direct link at the university in St. Louis there. The students had been there for a couple of days. Well, they had been there for at least a day, is my understanding. And there's two aldermen who were trying to de-escalate. And so when Jill Stein and the teams got together, they went directly to with the student negotiators and to see if they can de-escalate the police response. These people were in, like, they had zip ties everywhere. And at first I was like, why do they just have like all these like then they weren't even just like clear, they were like green, like they're green.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. And we were there for a couple of hours, and they gave two like warning announcements saying, "Hey, we've asked you to leave," but once it started, like at 6:45, that's when like everything started getting really, really tense. During the negotiations, reporters were circling in and like getting, obviously, like we're documenting the conversations between the police officers and the police chiefs, and then the alderwoman and Jill Stein and I. And as like people started seeing, oh, the Green Party, oh, it's Jill, oh, like here's someone who's showing solidarity with the students, more reporters started coming, and they started yelling at the reporters to like move and get out. And I'm like, these are just journalists. Like these are like the St. Louis NPR station. Like these are journalists. Why are you yelling at them? And they said, if you all don't, right now we're by this tree. And there were 3 or 4 police officers on bikes, and they were just trying to say, what are some things, like what are the demands of the students, and what can we negotiate so that way you all can disperse a little bit, or give them some time, or take a step back. They said, we're not going to say anything. We'll arrest all of you if you don't step back, and you have a minute, we're counting down. And I was like, well, I'm going to back up because I cannot get arrested. And right. And they were they were saying that they're going to take Jill and the alderwoman and the journalists. And so I stepped back to let the journalists come through so they had more space. But yeah, they said, we're going to stop talking until you all like not only get off of the area that we were in, but they had us move. They moved us walking backwards into the grass area because we had been away from we'd been away from the circle and gone off to like the side in the tree area. And so they said, nope, you're going to go all the way back to the camp. So they pushed everybody and pushed all of us back. And so once like the students said, okay, we want you to hold the line. That's what we like. You're here. You're a person. We want you to get into the line, hold the line, and everyone get together. And so then like I did, and it was the hard part was all the students were peaceful. Like they had prayer time. They ensured people had like water and snacks, but it was either you will like get pushed down onto the ground or move, even though you're just exercising your free speech, and they're just trying to, again, the goal was for these like the adults in the room, the older people. So these are people who are in St. Louis, like aldermen, and the police to ramp things down. Once it hits dusk, that was it. They waited until it got darker, and that was when Jill said, "I like if you're not able to be arrested, then can you hold the fort at another fundraiser?" And I said, "Okay, well, obviously, like be safe." And I didn't think that I didn't actually think they're going to get arrested. I actually didn't think. I thought that was going to just be a scare tactic. But myself and Ariel went left.
The embarrassment and the humiliation.
And we left, and as we were walking across, like from campus, we saw 3 huge, like black police, like armored vehicles go, and they had buses. So they had public buses ready for the roundup, and so those are the alderman people, yes. And they're just there to de-escalate. Like they were there just to de-escalate 100%.
I'm so sorry I threw you off there. We'll definitely go back and update, but I just figured since we have a little bit of footage, we'll might as well share it. This is from how do I share it? Do I have to go to the screen now? I have to go to the screen. See, I've never done this before, and this is embarrassing. So I apologize. Oh my God. Seriously? I got too many tabs open. I can't find what the fuck I am right now. Oh my God. Go away. There it is. Okay. Okay. So here's the footage from, you said the alderman, Jill Stein, and yourself are talking to the police here and trying to negotiate with them, or is this after that?
No, this is part of the negotiations.
Okay.
Yep.
So we'll just
want a conversation so we can de-escalate the situation and have a conversation, a dialogue, so we can avoid the embarrassment and
this is an alderman here.
That will come down on this administration if it attacks peaceful demonstrators who are simply calling for peace and human rights and the end to a genocide that the American people abhor.
Yes, the universities that are having votes of no confidence for their leadership are the ones who called police on their students. It is not the ones that have allowed their students to peacefully exercise their First Amendment rights. And I think that's very important for this conversation.
This dialogue needs to go forward among the American people. This is a difficult conversation which the American people need to have. And it's to the credit of the students here that they are participating in this dialogue. Shutting it down violently doesn't want a conversation so we can
Okay. That sounds really like you guys are trying to make a beautiful, intelligent argument, and the cops are literally like talking to their friends over top of you. Like it sounds like they're not paying attention at all. Is that the case?
Yeah, they had their orders. They knew exactly what was going to happen. And part of why, and I understand it's a private school, but university like Washington University in St. Louis is meant to be a place of activism. and those students are continuing in that legacy. And I was so excited and so happy and blessed that they were willing to share that time with us, and that we were able to hold the line for the time. But yeah, the goal was to de-escalate, and they had been like to de-escalate and to ensure that the students were able to like even go to the bathroom. So they started locking the buildings, and like revoking card access. Yeah, so people would do like groups of, hey, we're all gonna go to the bathroom, so you don't have to go alone. And they like places that would typically be open, so like normally would be open, available to the students, they had locked it. And the students who were able to get inside of some buildings, the police were like, get out, leave, or we'll arrest you. Either you go back to the encampment, or we'll arrest you right here, right now. And so people like either went really, really far to a different place. But yeah, it was like arrest or what, we can't use the bathroom. We can't like, and the goal was to, they had very legitimate like demands. They like Washington University has direct investments. So the students said, we want to stop. That's fair. And there was, and 100% fair. And so the alderman also pointed out that some of the issues that happened in St. Louis is a lack of police response, or a lack of appropriate police response. So how is it when some neighborhoods are calling and we're getting 5-10 minute waits, maybe not even getting a call back? Otherwise, now at this private university, right, with all this media, you all escalate. And that was in April 20. That was in late April. Seeing what was going on, like it started with what Columbia, but what worried me was thinking that what happened at UCLA could have happened, like, did happen with those students. There's one of the organizers, one of the activists named Dre. He they were trying to find people who were identified as leaders, and were running and chasing after them, trying to get them 1 or 2 or 3 times. People were ducking and diving, so that way they're not getting, again, like a peaceful protest, having them escalate it. And it's always the police escalating things.
Yeah, that's crazy to me, and I'm so sorry for all of the crazy interruptions and stuff. This is such an important story. I was, and then the telemarketer was like, "Hey, man." Oh my God. So, yeah, and I have video of when things went south. So it sounds to me like the students and the people running this protest were doing everything they possibly could to keep this civil, and the police were just hanging around, waiting for their moment. Waiting for a phone call. What happened right before tensions broke out, like that caused it? Like what? Like, was there shouting? Was there literally anything the police could point to be like, that this is the reason we're gonna move in? Or did they just go 1, 2, 3, go?
They waited until dusk. They waited until just after. Yeah. So I think that they waited up just until it would be considered like nighttime. And then they went, and it was like a storm. So they had bikes, they had people on bikes there. But they were like, people were holding the line and in a circle. And they like did a sweep to get people as much into the same place as possible. And then it was like basically like herding. So but they all just came wave after wave. And then started just accosting students, pulling them, trying to get them like to break up. And there was, it was also, I think it was more than, like there's a couple of layers, right? So there's like one layer, then there's some people behind you, and they're like pulling your leg off the person who's behind you. All of a sudden you're falling on the ground.
Wow. I've got video here. I'm going to show it. It's a quickie, and then I'm gonna remember to shout out the people who filmed this video. here you can see Jill, like right in here. He is literally being shoved under by these cops. Like, they see like the sweetest, tiniest woman, and they're just like, let's take a giant bike and push her down to the ground. Oh my God, look at this. Yeah, I think it's a blessing that you guys came out okay. That Stein made it out okay, and that she sent you guys home first, or not home to the fundraiser. I'm sorry. Hold on, let me stop this for a second. Okay, let me do this. Okay, this was Powerful Mind X on Twitter. Dior, thank you very much for that footage. And if I go back to the last one, that's from Hallie E. Cox on Twitter. Thank you very much for that footage. I just want to make sure to give credit. So I mean, I think it's pretty awesome that they had the presence of mind to send you, forward to, wherever you had to go next, and just make sure you were out of harm's way. I mean, I think that's, that's really the spirit that I've seen from a lot of Greens, that, they just want to make sure, that the most vulnerable of us are protected first. Mm-hmm. And that's beautiful. Yeah. So tell me more about that.
I almost felt bad, but because it's like, almost like you want to be in that, like, not that you want to be in the action, but I'm running for office. So it could have been an interesting tagline. And I was really excited and happy again, and felt accepted of, that's not the role I can play. I think of like, we all have a role. Some of those people get arrested, and that's something that's okay. And they planned for that. And so I became a part of their plan. I got their phone numbers, valuables that, may not come back. I took, and then I gave those well wishes. And by the time I got to the fundraiser, Jill was arrested. And so was like 100 students. And there are students who are who are trying to leave with us, and some students who are like heading over there to see. But when I saw those 3 huge police armored vehicle buses that like the SWAT teams come out of, and they were at the library. They parked at the library, and I was just like, okay.
Oh my God. The libraries are now going to be like military installations, like they're just going to be converted or something.
And it was so peaceful and beautiful, and even the small amount of counter protesters were again viewed like with civility and all that stuff. And I'm curious to see if any of those folks who still weren't like abiding by the rules, if any of them got arrested, because they were going after some of these students.
Oh my gosh. So you had said previously to the violence, they were denying people access to bathrooms and water. Did you see that also for the counter protesters? Did you happen to notice?
No.
Mm-hmm. So they let them go in, but not you guys.
Mm-hmm. And these are supposed to be like, and there's just like, they're really just a handful of folks, but they were just as like, actually there's 2 sets of small anti-protesters. But they were able to move along. I doubt any of them got arrested. And do
you know if they were students also, or if they had just heard about this and came over?
I don't know, but I would say that they may have been I guess I would say I don't know. There are a lot of also just people who are like observing as like bystanders. But it was curious because they were the police were a bit more agitated towards the bystanders than even what I saw them with the counter protesters, because when when there were like groups of students who were just like off to the side and then coming together, they start saying, no, you have to disperse. Like you have to either move towards the encampment or move from these spaces. But I never saw them or heard them jostling or following up with any of the counter protesters, which is very frustrating, because if we're all breaking, the idea is like, if we're all breaking the rules, then we all should be treated similarly, but obviously that's not going to happen.
Isn't there like equality somewhere in our founding documentation?
That's what I hear. That's what I hear. That's what I hear.
Right? Couldn't tell you. Oh my goodness. That is a hell of a story.
Yeah. I do feel like the Greens are like the home that I've been looking for politically for a while. And I think that that event, but the whole day with the different Greens, the Metro East St. Louis Greens, new people, it was like, okay, this is the home. This is the hope, and I'm happy that I'm here now.
That's awesome. Yeah, I feel that way too, honestly. And I think, and I'm glad that you mentioned, that you had a moment in your mind where you thought about whether or not you would want to, get arrested because of, like a headline or something like that for your campaign. You're 3,000,000% right. That is not for you to do, right? Like there are enough white people in the Green Party. Like we can throw ourselves, like we can protect you. You know what I'm saying? Because we need your voice so much more outside of jail, right? We need your voice so much more. So I'm glad that you brought that up, and I'm glad that Jill and others were sensitive, and Jason Call as well were sensitive to those needs, and I think that's great and beautiful, and that's how we should protect each other. And I think it's awesome that they had a plan too. I mean, these are seasoned professionals when it comes to protest arrest.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, you're absolutely right. You should do that. If you ever are about to get arrested, especially if you're at a protest, make sure somebody else has your valuables. Make sure somebody has a contact, like make sure that you've memorized somebody's number even for, an emergency call. Absolutely make provisions, because you never know. You really never know. And well, maybe you do know, and that's why you should do it.
That and always have cash.
Yeah.
Just a little bit.
Just a little bit? Okay. Interesting. Mm-hmm. Doesn't that speak to the morality of our cops?
That's
hey, fella.
Hey.
Once it drop out of my wallet here, maybe you want to let me go a little.
Here's a 20 or two.
Oh man. You know what? Do cops actually, I don't know if they would ever actually go for it, because cops know that they could just take your shit anyway. You know what I'm saying? Like they don't need to be bribed, because they're just gonna take your shit.
That is very true. That is very fair. Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. The idea is if you have some cash, then you can use it for your commissary.
Oh, interesting. Well, that's, but you would have to be in the prison. You wouldn't, if you just get arrested, right, you would be going into holding, and you wouldn't have those things yet, like commissary and all that stuff. That's like an actual.
You'd be surprised.
Really? In holding?
Yeah. Wow. So what I'd say is it's different in different places. So 100%. But if you I know that in one state, if you were to be if you're taken in the morning, and they're not able to, and they process you, but they're not able to get you in to see when your bail might be set, or if you are on the docket and you don't get seen and you spend a night there, then you are eligible for utilizing compensation, because now you could be placed within general population or a special holding. So if there are times when maybe it's overcrowding, maybe it's something, but a few dollars could sometimes be added to like your account so you can make calls if you move from holding into another space.
Wow. Okay. That is excellent information. I'm glad you mentioned it. Because I didn't know that. That's fucked up, man. Yeah.
Yes.
And I hope that when you get arrested, the cops let you keep that money for that purpose. Because sometimes they don't.
Here's to hoping. Here's to hoping.
I mean, like, I'm just speaking from my one stupid, like, privileged experience when I was selling crochet for food money in New York, and I got arrested for it because I didn't have a license, and they took everything, and thankfully they let me go without too much complaint or without holding. But the other people that I was with, I saw them go through their wallets, taking out all the cash, just not even thinking about it, putting it in their own pocket. Like, that shit's never even going to be recorded that happened. That just went into that cop's pocket. So that's insane. But I'm glad that you mentioned that, and it's horrifying to me, because that again is like they're creating the sort of infrastructure for people to get put in holding and then stay there for a while and maybe be used as slave labor. I don't know. That sounds like where that's going to me. That doesn't sound great.
No, it's not. And
Yeah.
we spend so much money. We spend so much money on keeping people in jail when we know that's not how you actually like reduce crimes. Investing in libraries and investing in public spaces for benefits everybody, and we see an actual reduced in crime. So it's always frustrating, but yeah.
Well, okay. So we touched on all the biggies, I think. We definitely talked about your transition to the Green Party. I wouldn't want to talk about that. Was great. Do you want to talk a little bit about your actual run? Do you have any events coming up, or?
Yes. Yes, thank you. This upcoming Saturday, May 18th, my team and I will be in two spaces, in Springfield and in Urbana, Illinois, at the Burma's Farmers Market and at Taste of Taylor Street. So see us there. We'll be canvassing, having a table, and then we'll be at Springfield Pride canvassing. And it's all one real big street and row. But if you see us in one of these fun t-shirts, we'll be there. And if depending on who all is watching this, we also have weekly volunteer meetings Thursday at 8 p.m. If you go to my website or the Illinois Green Party /events website, then you'll be able to join. And it's in person as well as one on Zoom. Well, I have an in-person component. And then if you're from Illinois anywhere or outside, you are able to come. Right now we're in signature collecting season. So if you can get 1 or 2 or even 3 pages, 10, 15 signatures, that would be amazing, because we need over 12,000. But yes, this upcoming Saturday, May 18th, we'll be in those two spaces basically all day. And then you'll find us at the Champaign Public Library Thursdays at 8 p.m.
Awesome. Yeah, and let me just 100 that, because that's the ball game. If you can't get the signatures, that's the ball game. So we need help. We need help. We need help here in Jersey too. We were just put out a call to our volunteers. I hope people come out and help you collect signatures. And it's not easy, and it's not something you can do online or remotely or easily, because the government specifically makes it difficult for people to get on the ballot, right? They specifically put these ridiculous hurdles in place to the point where, like, you have to have like pen and ink handwritten signatures on a notarized piece of paper and bart. And, like, that's not something that you can just make a GoFundMe about. That's not, you know what I mean? You can't just have a website where people go, and give you your signatures. You have to physically go and get the person's signature in person. So we need people on the ground to do that. And I absolutely appreciate everything that you've been doing. You're an awesome person. And I'm so glad that we're starting to get to know each other. Hopefully this is the beginning of a beautiful friendship.
Yes, queen.
Yeah, absolutely. Is there anything else that you want to talk about? Any other topics that you wanted to touch on but I have a little bit of time left. Otherwise, we can wrap it up. It's up to you.
I just want to say thanks for having me. I do have to go to another meeting to prepare for this upcoming one. But I do need help getting signatures, and I'm not always great with asking for help. And I need a lot of strangers to be willing to sign for me. So if you are just willing to let someone else be on the ballot, I'm in Illinois District 13. So if you are not currently happy with your incumbent, then head over to my website, follow me, and help petition and get a signature amongst your friends. Because really anyone can actually petition. You just have to, only people who can sign are from the district. So if you're anywhere in central Illinois, come my way. Also, out of state people are able to help too. So if you're over here for a weekend, we have homestays here in Illinois, because we know that sometimes it's a crash because things cost money.
That's awesome. And that's what community is about, right? That's what building grassroots building is about. It's about helping each other with stuff like that. That's great.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming. And we're definitely going to have you on again before this race is over. And full support. You are officially endorsed by Millennials Planning, if that means anything to you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Tell your kids. Nobody will care. Okay. But I had a blast, and this was an amazing conversation. Thank you so much. And I will wrap it up. Let me show my banner really quick.
Thanks,
my
Bess.
Computer hates me today. There we go. Donate to me so that I can buy a better computer, because this one is crapping me out. Okay. Well, thank you so much, everyone. I'm going to end the stream. Have a wonderful evening.